Hey everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel, TammyTalks here. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode of Married at First Sight. This is season 16, episode 7, Jamaican Me Crazy. For brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns on various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So, if you enjoy that type of content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video if you enjoyed this particular piece of content, and then hop in the comment section, y'all, so we can talk about everything that happened in tonight's episode. If you are going to hop into the comment section, know that I am going to respond, okay? Shout out to you, Earth Leela, for not acknowledging that, not understanding, but I am going to respond to the comments in the comment section, whether it's a LOL or a LMAO or an emoji or something. I'm going to respond. All right. So if you are okay with having me respond in the comment section and you know how to have a respectful and adult-like conversation that does not involve insults in any way, because we don't know these people on this show. This is all fun and games, y'all. Hop in the comment section down below and we can talk about what happened in tonight's episode, all right? So, I'm going to do this recap a little different this week. As of right now, the way I'm feeling, I'm not going to do 5 videos. I am sick. You will hear my voice go in and out. I'm going to cough. I'm going to sniff. I have a very, very, very intense head cold. So, we're going to get through this the best we can, y'all, all right? So let's start off with Gina. So I'm going to do the episode, the recap as the episode aired. Try that out this week. So, starts off with Gina. She's doing one of those like diary cams where she's recording herself. And she's in the room and she's saying how she just had this intense conversation with Clint. So as you guys remember, last week's episode ended with Gina having kind of a, I don't want to say confrontation, but her and Clint, talking about the ginger comment versus the slender comment and how both of them were affected, how both of them were offended by that as well. So she said that it is a red flag to her that Clint doesn't know what he said or did is wrong. Gina, I think it's a red flag that you don't realize that what you said or did is wrong as well. Clint told you that being called a ginger, that you're saying gingery features, he said that that is offensive to him. You did not acknowledge that. You glossed over it. You acted as if you didn't hear it. You acted as if you didn't care. That's as big of a problem as him saying the slender comment, which I know a lot of people are saying it's his preference. Yes, there's nothing wrong with his preference, right? It's more so the way he said it, and we know that he did it as retaliation from her saying she doesn't like gingers, or her saying she doesn't like gingers. It's not that he was saying it as, yeah, I'm used to dating this type of build, but, you look good too. It was him trying to get back at her. Both of them were wrong, right? My opinion. Both of them were wrong. So we switch over to Eris, Clint, and Chris. So the three of them are sitting outside talking. Clint is stating that he just had this conversation with Gina. He felt that Gina was going after him, saying that he made a disparaging comment about her weight. While it wasn't a direct comment about her weight, it was definitely a shot at her weight. Whether Clint wants to admit that or not, you took a shot at her weight. Because if you're saying I'm used to dating more slender women, you're telling her you're not as slender, you're not as thin, you are heavier, you are thicker, you are fatter, however you want to say it, than the average, hold on, my chair is sinking, than the average woman that I typically date. That's what you said. Whether Clint wants to admit that or not, that's what you said. So he said that he apologized for it, which he did. And Gina said that it was unforgivable. So he said that, Gina has called him a ginger and a redhead and all these other comments. And he told her he didn't want to be called that. And she kind of glossed over it, which she did. Eris was like, look, basically, Eris told Clint basically what you said was a defensive reaction to Gina. Both of y'all are acting off of high emotion, and it's not what you said, Clint, it's how you said it. Which is true. Which is true. Same for Gina. It's not what it's what she said. Because she did say, well, if you didn't know, because I didn't know that ginger was an offensive term, right? But if somebody tells you that that is offensive to them, then you have to acknowledge that. But in that moment, Clint did not tell Gina, you saying that is offensive. So that was his first misstep. And then after that, things just started to snowball. So Eris then goes on to say, maybe Gina feels a way about her own weight. Okay? Maybe Gina feels a way about her own size and body type and all this other type of stuff. So while you're saying I date more slender women, Gina heard you're fat. And if that's what she heard, that's what she heard. Right? So Clint then goes on to say it's not fair how he's now being labeled as somebody that doesn't like big women. I don't think that's what you're being labeled as, though. I think Clint in this moment wasn't thinking about the other cast members. Clint in this moment is thinking about Twitter and Instagram and Reddit and YouTube. But from what I've seen, and I watched a few recaps the past couple weeks, I haven't seen anybody say, oh, Clint doesn't like bigger women. That's not what I heard. I just heard people say that he's a butthole. But okay. So Eris is like, no, that's not fair. So then Eris then goes a step further and said, do you think that your delivery was right? Do you think that maybe you could have said this a different way? Clinton said, you know what? It was a spur of the moment statement. It might have not come across the way that I totally meant it. So Clinton said that he does have some thinking to do. Sorry, y'all. He said he does have some thinking to do. And because right now, both of them feel like they're in a space where they can't move on. He then said in the confessional that he came into this with the purest intent of finding someone to spend his forever with. And it's just unfortunate how things have gone. But I feel like Clint also needs to own his part in this situation as well. It's not just what Gina did. It's not just what you did. This is both of y'all. So while you might have came into this with the purest intent, you still messed up. So we get to the dinner where all the couples are going to get together and, do the whole, this is our last night together type thing before they go their separate lives after the honeymoon. Gina stated that her and Clint talked before coming out here for dinner, and he apologized once again, and she explained how his statement is offensive to all of the women. Clinton decides to address the table. He said that he is somebody that wants to be as real as possible. I think a lot of people use that I'm super real and I'm super authentic and I want to be as honest as possible as an excuse to be a butthole, as an excuse to say rude comments, as an excuse to get away with a lot of fugazi things that they shouldn't get away with ordinarily. You can be a very honest and real person without offending people at the same time. It's very possible. So Kirsten said that he came out strong and wrong. Clinton, let's talk about the wrong. So he said it was the wrong choice of words. He just wanted to give everyone context for where he's been in his past life. But see, that doesn't make sense either because nobody asked you what you've dated in your past life. Not one person sat up there and asked you. You just wanted to say that. So Gina said that, we did talk and Clint did immediately apologize. And she said it boils down to having mindful verbiage. Thinking before you speak, basically. So she said that typically she is a runner. And if this, when she's typically gone when somebody offends her in that way. So basically the contract and the honeymoon, that's what's keeping her here for now. So Nicole said that if Gina is willing to give him a second chance, she's going to speak for the whole table. Okay, I'm going to speak for everyone here, and we're all. I said thank you, Nicole, for speaking for everybody. But Nicole said that we're all going to give him a second chance, and we'll start with a clean slate. Gina and Clint are not going to work, even though we see next week that they are going through whatever. They were never going to work because neither one of them are attracted to the other. They have passed each other in that building that they live in and never had a second thought to talk to each other. It's not going to work. They're not going to work. So Clinton said that it's all communication stuff, and that he basically was on some, we ain't the only ones that's been having communication issues. So Gina then said, why doesn't everybody rate their marriage so far, before we go into, normal life as we leave the honeymoon? So McKinley and Dominique are first. McKinley said that, he's working on his communication, and even though he thinks he's funny, he's realizing that a lot of what he thinks is funny is not funny to Dominique and all this other type of stuff, because Dominique don't like you, so nothing that you're doing is entertaining to her, to be real. But McKinley said that he's came into this looking for a partner to help him with his introvertedness and get him kind of out of his shell. So he said that he gives them a 7.5. Dominique has nothing more to say, but I agree. She's not at a 7.5, but she doesn't want to, one, embarrass him, or two, hurt his feelings. So she's going to go along with this 7.5. Chris said that this is going better than he expected, and he wants to give this an 8.2. Nicole was like, I'm going to give it an 8.2 as well. But that's because I think when we get back to real life, it's going to be hard. And we might have friction. And we might have a bunch of trouble. So while I would say that we're at a 10, okay, I'm going to give us an 8.2 to be. And it's like, Nicole, what are you talking about? Girl, say a number. Nicole stresses me out. Nicole stresses me out. She did a bunch of unnecessary talking just to agree. She just liked to hear herself talk. We get to Kirsten. Kirsten said that they had a moment earlier because, Shaquille likes to joke a lot and she feels there's a time and place for that. We would still like to see where he's joking too much because I haven't seen that. But she says she gives them a 7 because they're getting along very well. They have a lot of the same ideals, are the same morals. They have a lot of the same opinions and stuff about things. And she feels that they're basically, the same person. I say, really? Aside from him being bald and joking too much, huh? Okay. Shaq agrees and said that he's excited to see where things are going to grow from there with them. Gina said that she's pleased with where they are. And she said that she's at a solid 5 and she's hopeful right now. Clint said it's a relief to hear that. He's at a 5.5. He feels like they are over that hump because they had the argument, and after having the argument, they have gone through that test, and he feels that they're on the rise, I guess. Jasmine feels that they are good. She mentions him never being in love again for the 45th time in 3 days. She then goes on to say that she falls in love very easily, and she's worried about falling in love. She's worried about falling in love with him and him not being in love with her and not reciprocating that love with her back. She then goes on to say that, but you know what? After thinking about it, maybe he just hasn't met the right girl. Maybe he just hasn't met a Jasmine yet. I said, girl, he don't like you. Your name could be Bianca and he wouldn't like you. He don't like you. So she said that she's at a 7.5, maybe an 8. Eris was like, I'm at a 7. Knowing good and gosh darn well, Eris is at a 2. Okay, but Aaron said he's at a 7. McKinley, his confessional was like, I think people are lying. I said, I know that's right, because you know a thing or two about being a liar, don't you, McKinley? You know a thing or two about being a liar. So McKinley is like, I think he's lying. So back at the table, McKinley was asked Eris if he thinks he can fall in love with Jasmine. I said, "Ooh, you being messy boots. You are being messy boots." And Eris said, "Well, it's only been a week, and we are still strangers." Eris then said, "I don't know about y'all, but like, even though I'm here, this is nuts to me. This don't feel nuts to y'all." Like, look around, like, is it me? This don't feel crazy to y'all? And everybody is super, super quiet because probably shouldn't have said that. So Eric, the next morning, Eris is in his confessional and he just got done going and working out. He said he woke up early, he read, he went to work out. He enjoys his me time. He needs his me time to like center himself and get himself together. He said that he does feel guilty because he's not showing as much affection towards Jasmine as she is showing back towards him. So he said that he is attracted to her, just not as much as she is attracted to him. You're not attracted to her, Eris. You don't like her, and you need to just be real. Tell her the physical is not there for you yet. Or just tell her the physical is not there for you. Hell, everybody else is doing it. What's the difference with you doing it? So we get over to Dominique and Mac. Everybody is leaving that day. So they're having breakfast together. She then goes on to point out that, you do a lot of stuff and then you say that you do it for me. I want you to be excited to go out and do this stuff as well. I don't want to always have to push you. Dominique, look, sis. And I'm glad that McKinley spoke up for himself. He was like, look, that's not who I am. I'm not going to be excited about horseback riding and sailing and climbing Mount Everest. That's just not who he is. He said, so then she's like, well, I just feel like I always have to like hype you up and like you're trying to hype us up and like I just don't need that. I want you to just go out and do it. So he tells her, well, look, this is how I get ready for stuff. I like to hype people up. I like to be hyped up. That's what me and my brother would do. So then Captain Obvious is like, I'm not your brother. Duh. Dominique is going to get on my very last everlasting nerve this season. I can tell she is completely unreasonable. McKinley is a liar, okay? McKinley is lying. Well, I really feel like if McKinley wouldn't have come in and been lying about little things, she probably wouldn't have this adverse of a reaction to him. But she's doing too much. So then she was like, I want to be able to have my moments and not just feel like I have to coach you. So he then tells her, you know what? I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt with a lot of stuff. You're not doing the same. He said, I feel like for you, it's your way or the highway. And that is the vibe she's giving. So I think she realizes, it's like in her mind, you're looking bad on TV. You're looking bad on TV. So she flips it and it's like, you know what? Dating in Nashville has just made me really, really hard on the inside, and I don't want you to feel attacked. That does not give us a solid, definite answer or response to you feeling like it has to be your way or no way. That was a cop-out. So we panned over to Chris, y'all. It's sad music and waves are crashing. They done tinted to like a sepia filter. Chris is weeping outside. So I'm thinking, oh, somebody has passed away. No. Chris is crying because they cannot have all of their dogs at the apartment. The apartment complex said you can have 2. Now, I saw somebody on Twitter say that they should have gotten an apartment building where everybody can have all their dogs. The average apartment building is only letting you have 2 dogs. The average. There are some apartment buildings that will let you have multiple. Notice the key word here is the average apartment building is going to give you 2. Right? So he feels like he is abandoning his dogs if he leaves them at home and just goes and checks on them every day. I grew up with the dog. We had a couple dogs growing up, actually. I I love dogs. I would love to have a dog now. I'm just not home enough. I'm too busy for a dog. So I understand the pain that people have when like a pet passes away. I understand the love that people have for a dog. I see my friend's dog all the time, right? So I get it. But at the same time, I might catch hell for this. I feel like the moment that Chris found out they could only have 2 dogs, he said, I need to put on a show so that I can have my 2 and she can do whatever with hers. That's what that gave me. That's what that gave me. Because why would you start crying right away? Why wouldn't you talk to her and say, look, we can only have 2 dogs. So like we need to devise a plan. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So he said that he's worried about separation anxiety with them. He's saying that dogs have feelings, which we know. He feels bad about having to board his dogs for the week that, that they're here on this honeymoon or whatever. So Nicole was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Now, Chris already knows that Nicole has said that she is a person that is willing to bend over backwards for her husband. He knows that, and he's playing on this. So, because it's like he didn't even try to figure it out. He just started crying. So she goes into, I'm going to fix it for you mode. She then says that our relationship is strong enough that if we have to spend some time apart to deal with these dogs, we're good. Strong enough where? Y'all just met each other 3 days ago. How is your relationship strong enough? How is your relationship strong enough? So we did see Nicole FaceTimes her dad. Ask her dad if they are able to swap out the dogs so they can kind of rotate out the dogs so the dogs can all get acclimated together. Is he willing to help out with her dog? Now, her dad offers to take her dog back to Florida. Now, she gets teary-eyed and says she doesn't want to be without her dog for that long as well, and she wants Chris to be around her dog and Chris's dogs to be around her dog and all this other type of stuff. Chris doesn't want her to have to be without her dog for a while either. The entire thing is a mess. I almost feel like, and I know it's not reasonable, but I almost feel like people on this show shouldn't have pets. And I'm only saying that, and I know y'all are going to get me in the comments, but I'm only saying that because it would alleviate a lot of the problems that we see early on. Or maybe they should look into putting some of these people into Airbnbs where they can have a house and have a dog. I don't know what the solution is, but I feel like situations like this could really, really be avoided on this show. Because MAFS, y'all knew that this apartment building was going to give a 2-dog limit. Y'all still picked this building knowing Jasmine got a kennel, but y'all still picked this building knowing that a lot of these couples, when they match them up, were going to have more than 2 dogs. So then we get to Eris and Jasmine. They're having breakfast, and Eris said it seems kind of off-putting to him that they had 2 different ratings. Jasmine says she didn't think anything of it. She knew that her rating would be different than his. She said that the past couple of days have been complicated for her. Eris then said that, he needed his me time to be able to begin to process a little more about this entire situation. He wants to know what they can do because he feels like only time can solve it, but he knows that they don't have a lot of time. So Jasmine says she's trying to take the approach of giving him more grace, right? Sorry, y'all. She knows where she is, and she wants to give him the grace to kind of get to that level. So Eris said that, we're both there for the same reason. He said that this is stressing him out because he's getting a friendly vibe from her. Girl, that was your 5th red flag. He's friend zoning you right now. right now. So Jasmine in her confessional said, I ain't trying to be nobody's friend. I came here to be a wife. So he then says, I know that, if I was in a crisis, if I was in the hospital, I know that you would be right there, ready to wipe my ass if I needed you to. Take note how he didn't say, and I would be there for you as well. That didn't come out his mouth. That never crossed his mind. Because according to Eris, all he really cares about is the fact that she would be there for him in a way that he wants or needs or whatever the case, right? So, I mean, what more can you say about that? Like, it's very clear that he does not like you, Jasmine. You can feel it. We cannot see it. I'm sure the rest of your castmates can see it. But you're going to go along to get along at this point. So we get Chris and Nicole. She tells him that her dog, we find out that her dog is going to be staying at her apartment with a family member. And then they're just going to kind of rotate between her dog coming in and out. She's going to start to resent Chris for this. She's going to start to resent Chris for this. Because essentially it's not fair that he's always going to have one of his dogs there. And there's going to be times where you won't. Because then where is Chris's dog going to be? You know what I mean? I feel like it's never going to, her dog is never going to really rotate in. That's the vibe that I get. So Shaq and Kristen are talking about going back home. And she's talking about how messy he has his stuff all over the place now. He said, look, I'm on vacation, okay? He said, but at my apartment, everything is very neat. My closet is coordinated by the suit. And Shaq gives me the vibe that he is very neat and orderly in general. She doesn't seem like she believes him, but we're going to find out. Eris and Jasmine are talking about moving back. And he is saying how he wants the house to look very, very nice and modern, but he also wants a stranger to come in and be able to tell black people live here. I said, what does that mean? And he was like, he just wants to have black artwork up all around. And I was like, all you had to say was that you wanted to have black artwork up. That's normal. That's normal. I have black artists up in here. I have Basquiat's all over my apartment. Like, it's not a hard concept to say that. Eris, I feel like, just makes things so weird. So they decided they're going to go for a more modern, chic vibe when decorating. McKinley and Dominique are talking, and Dominique thinks that maybe once McKinley is back home and in his element and in his bubble, things will be a little easier for them, and maybe he'll be a little more relaxed. Might be. We'll see. Clint and Gina. Clint is excited that they will be able to finally see each other in a different light, because when they're on this honeymoon, it is very orchestrated. It's very produced. Whereas when they're living back at home and the cameras are out and, people are a little bit more relaxed around each other, the representatives are coming off. Now y'all are going to get to the real of who each other is. So we're back in, where are we? We're back in Nashville. Everybody is moving into the apartment. Eris feels like their apartment number, which is 313, is symbolism, because he used to visit his dad in Detroit all the time, which we know the area code is 313. He's getting a good vibe about this. Excuse me. So then we get to Gina and Clint. They're talking about the apartment, and Clint is saying that he wants to do like a Mexican fiesta for all their friends and family. They just need more seating. So they're party planning. Clint is also excited about Gina's dog, Hank. He's asking where is Hank going to be during the day. Gina was like, he's chill. So, he could be here. Or if you want to take him to work with you, really doesn't matter. He's super chill. He's not going to chew anything up. But he's just not allowed in the salon. Abby, right? So Clint is like, he loves dogs. He's just never had the time for a dog. So he's excited for Hank to come around. He's ready for them to spend some time getting to know each other. Kirsten and Shaq are in their apartment, and he asks her how organized she is. She immediately says that her closet is a mess. Girl, weren't you just accusing him of being messy? Like, what is wrong with Kirsten? Like, you were just having this conversation. Literally just having this conversation. So she then asked, he asked how would she want their clothes washed? And, would he want their clothes washed together? And she would say, well, I will probably wash your clothes first separately. I just need to know how you do yours. He was like, I just throw them in. And she was like, okay, because, some people use scent beads. Some people use fabric softener. People have different ways that they want to do their clothes. She just wants to make sure that she gets a good understanding of how he would want his clothes done. So Kristen says in her confessional that she's looking forward to living with him and she's hoping that they can grow from there. Like I said before, I think she likes him more than she wants to admit because he's not there aesthetically for her. If he had a Caesar, he had a low top, if he had the slightest amount of hair, she would be all over him. Because on paper and personality-wise, they match. So we get Chris and Nicole. Chris wants them to call out if something that the other person is doing is annoying to them. He said that he's willing to make adjustments. He knows that there are things that he does that will annoy her, vice versa. She's like, me too. I was like, okay, calm down. So she then feels that they are as close to perfection as two people can be in this situation. I said, oh yeah? Okay. Speaking a little too soon. Sorry, I had to get my water. Speaking a little too soon. She then asks him if he loves her again. And he was like, no. She's like, yeah, me too. Nicole, baby. It's obvious that you are waiting. It's obvious that Nicole loves him, right? Nicole thinks she is in love. And what Nicole wants is for Chris to say that he is in love so that she can say, yeah, me too, as well. This hair is bothering me. I can feel it. Okay. She wants to be able to say, yeah, me too, but she wants him to say it first so she don't look crazy. Don't ask this man no more. Because it's been 3 days. Don't ask him no more. So they go get in bed. He thanks her once again for being willing to swap out the dogs because he was distraught and he's glad that they came to an understanding and a plan that would work for the both of them. Chris, you didn't come to anything. But see, Chris also gives me the vibe of somebody who has always had other people figure out things for him. I think Chris is the type of person who, whenever something has gone wrong in his life, he's had somebody clean that up for him and pick up the pieces for him. And now that he is in a marriage, he feels that he really wants his wife to do the same thing. And Nicole's that type of person willing to do it. He's going to take advantage of her. And it's going to be underneath the guise of, oh, well, she's running over him when really he's taking advantage of her. Watch. So then we get Dom and Mac. So they talk about living with a partner. And she's asking him, so you've never lived with a partner before? And he said no. But I have a sense of what it's like to live with a partner because, I've been in relationships where they were staying over 4 or 5 nights, at a time anyways. So she asks if he is more traditional about what he expects a woman to do, i.e., do you want me barefoot cooking and cleaning all day? He said he doesn't expect her to do that. He said he doesn't mind cleaning. He's not the best cook. And she's like, okay, well, we can work on that together. Dominique's condescending, pompous ass gets in her confessional. It says that she feels they were matched because all the things that he needs to work on, she embodies. You know what else you embody? Being annoying. You know what else you embody? Being condescending, being critical. You embody being annoying. So, hold on, y'all. Who my throat? Okay. So then we have Jasmine and Eris. Eris wants to know if they are in the bathroom, do we stay here while the other one does number 2? Eris. Like, Eris is acting like a 13-year-old. And he tells her, I want the top drawer, the left side. That's me. You can have everything else. He was then like, the top drawer, don't even touch it. That's mine. This left side is mine. So they're walking through the apartment. He's like, I don't want no shoes on in the house, which I feel like is I respect people that say that. I don't do that here, but I respect people that don't want shoes on in their house. He's like, this nightstand, this whole left side is mine. Don't even touch it. All this is mine. And it's like, what are you hiding in these? What are you hiding in the nightstand or anywhere that you don't want her even touching a drawer? It's giving a little weirdo. So he then wants to know that if there was a do-over that she could do so far, would she change anything? She said no. She believes that everything happens for a reason. I'm the same way. Everything that happens, every interaction, every argument, every conversation, everything to me happens for a reason. So while they're talking about this, Eris is dancing while he's eating this like egg white bland ass tortilla. And she's talking and he's like, I was enjoying my food too much. I didn't even hear what you were saying. Bye. So now they're going to go see each other's apartments because we're getting ready to move in. First step is Eris's house. Eris' house looks nice. Very nice house. Looking house from the outside. We get inside. His house is very clean, right? Everything's in its place. It looks nice and organized. He's in the confessional. They've been gone for 2 weeks. He hasn't had a chance to put things up and, organize a little bit better. So he's saying she might find some interesting sex toys all over. She won't. Eris just wants to have this facade as if he's having a bunch of sex when he's probably not. So he has a nice gym in his house, a Peloton, some weights. He has a nice little man cave with a bar. That's where he hangs out. She said, well, cool, you can have your man cave. You need your alone time. I need a beauty room. So they're like, cool. They're each going to have their own room. They go to the bedroom and she notices that he has a bunch of the clear shoe boxes with his shoes in. And she's like, oh, since his shoes are very nice and neat and organized, I'm willing to give up more closet space so he can move that over. He has his dad's obituary next to his bed. We find out that his uncle died a couple days before his father. So it was a double funeral, which, Lord, I know that was hard. So it's a double funeral. And he's just, it really seems like once Eris's father died, a part of him died as well. And he just hasn't recovered from that. He hasn't let anybody in. Somebody on Twitter I saw said that they feel like Eris might just have some type of separation anxiety, or he feels like everybody's going to walk out of his life. And that's kind of the why he is the way he is. And I think that makes sense as well. So finally, we have Dominique and McKinley. Take a sip for this one. Dominique said that she knew that McKinley was living with these people, but she thinks it's weird, as do the rest of us, girl. Don't even worry about that. She said it makes her think that he doesn't plan to be in Nashville for a very long time. So we get to this house, nice looking house. He said he lives here in the basement. There is no door to the basement. That's the first thing. So you really don't have privacy. There was a door to the bedroom part, but there was no door to the basement. It was just open. It was just an open space, right? Get down there, little piece of a space that has a TV and a couch. He's like, this is where I kick it. She was like, is any of this yours? And he was like, no. So that means that was just the space that they had in general. They go over to the bedroom, and on the wall is a bunch of pictures of his friend's family. No pictures of himself, no real anything of himself that he has added to that apartment. Or excuse me, to that bedroom. He keeps asking her, what do you think? What do you think? She's saying, well, there's nothing for me to judge on because none of this is yours. Now, a lot of people were saying that she's being critical and judgmental on Twitter. I'm actually on Dominique's side with this because I think it's weird. Wait, let me just finish this for one, then I'll talk about it. So he was like, yeah, well, it was like a quick turnaround. You know, I moved down here, signed up for the show. Everything kind of happened at the same time. So as they're leaving, he's asking her, so how do you feel about what you saw, whatever the case? She's like, I don't know how you have been living there for so long in this little bit of a space, right? He says he feels that it is a smart decision because he didn't want to commit to jumping into a house since he knew he was in this process for the show. She said that she has no plans to move from Nashville, but the fact that he has been moving from place to place to place, not setting down roots, clearly not jumping into an apartment, makes her think that he's there for a good time, not a long time, right? So he then tells her, well, I didn't want to commit to a place. She said, okay, you can't commit to an apartment, but you want to commit to a marriage? And that is the realest thing that Dominique has said. And it seems like she was being critical with that apartment, but no, she's saying the realest shit ever. Because you didn't want to sign a lease, but you wanted to sign a marriage certificate. It's weird who is this, McKinley? It's weird that McKinley even was able to get on this show when he had just moved down here a couple months ago. So you moved down, my thing is, did you move here to be on the show? Do you really live here now? Do you still have residence somewhere else? Like, it's a lot of questions, and a lot of this doesn't make sense. So McKinley is like, well, I was upfront about my living situation. Being upfront about the living situation doesn't change how weird it is that you cannot commit to an apartment, but you wanted to commit to a marriage. They're not going to work solely for this reason. And if that is Dominique's reasoning for not wanting to make it work with him, I can't say anything about that, because how do I know that you're not going to up and leave just like that? You have no roots here. You didn't even bother to bring all your clothes. You haven't even bothered to put a picture up. You're going to sleep every night with a gallery wall of somebody else's family. That's weird. Let me know how you guys felt about everything that happened in tonight's episode, and I will catch you guys in the next one.